the Democratic Alliance unveiling its first election poster in Cape Town as it rolls out its 7-week campaign ahead of the November polls.
So Stellenbosch University Senior political lecturer, that's Dr. Collette Schultz-Herzenberg, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, says the gap between the ANC and the opposition is closing, making elections even more competitive. Here's Newzroom Afrika's Nasiphi Same.
The race to the election has begun with the Democratic Alliance unveiling its election poster for its City of Cape Town mayoral candidate, Jordan Hill-Lewis.
Cape Town already is the best place. It works, gets the basics right. We can do more to improve the basics and invest more in infrastructure and make sure that we do the basics much better. But then the key second thing is, how do we protect Cape Townians from what is happening nationally? Failing electricity, failing rail and public transport, a shrinking economy with more unemployment.
The DA remains confident that the blue wave will continue sweeping through the Cape Metro and snatch up new metros post-local government elections.
It's about, coming back to where it started and showing other metros what can happen to them if they change the way they vote. If they first of all register and then change the way they vote. All the metros are now in play, particularly given the ANC's problems with their lists and the internal disarray. So we're going all out in all of the metros to try and win as many of those as possible. But we also want to win those small towns because they're in desperate need of a lifeline of good governance and job creation and economic development and basic services.
Political parties have set their eyes firmly on the metro.
Most opposition parties will believe that their best chances are to win, a majority of seats on these councils in the larger metros. And so I think we will see campaigns geared towards focusing on metros that they can win. In fact, Action SA said as much the other evening, that they were looking to try to win seats where it was most likely. And this is because opposition parties and parties generally in South Africa understand that we are probably heading into an era of coalition politics. And so they will be thinking about the sort of opportunities that coalition politics might now start to provide the smaller parties in the electoral scene in terms of perhaps being kingmakers or even governing.
The Independent Electoral Commission has filed answering papers at the Constitutional Court to dismiss the DA's urgent application of reopening of candidate registration. But the DA remains adamant.
The IEC must decide. I mean, they change their position every single day with black backflips. So what you saw in the original application, Mr. Glenn Mashinini arguing that they cannot open the candidate selection. They argued against the EFF's prayer. Now they're saying they want to open it again. They must make up their mind. In my view, this is a clear attempt to give the governing party a special advantage that wasn't given to other parties when they found themselves in a similar situation, notably the IFP and the NFP. The ANC have shot themselves in the foot. They've got no one to blame but their own ineptitude and incompetence.
With just 7 weeks to go for parties to campaign ahead of the local government elections, voter turnout is one of the key aspects of any election. 42.28% of registered voters did not vote previously.
The one key factor is that we mustn't forget that South African participation rates have been in decline for the last 10, 15 years. Certainly over the last 4 or 5 elections, we've seen a decline in registration and also turnout. And this is due to a number of factors. And so this is a different kind of apathy. This is not the sort of apathy that suggests people don't care about politics or the state of their democracy or their country. It does suggest, however, that they just simply are very disgruntled with the political menu of options that are on offer. And if we are unable to identify a credible, viable political home, we are very unlikely to turn out to vote. And that's more a reflection of the political party scene than voters themselves.
This coming weekend will be the final opportunity for the public to register to vote ahead of the 1 November municipal elections. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I am Nasiphi Same in Cape Town.